Welcome to Front-End Interview Series Day 3. So third question is React.memo versus useMemo versus useCallback. Okay, these three are the hooks which we use in functional component to memorize. So explain differences with use case, example, scenario also. So what is use callback? So use callback ensures function reference stability across renders. So every time the component will get when the component gets re-render, the function reference, so whatever the function they have created, those will not get re-render, will not get recreated if they use this hook called use callback. And react.memo, so this will memorize the complete component. See, if you have a parent and also a child, if the parent is getting re-rendering, child also get re-render even if props doesn't change. So at that time, if you use react.memo of the child component, then only if props changes it will get re-render, otherwise it won't get re-render. So what is react.memo? This is an higher order component that prevents re-render if props don't change. Example, how to write this: export default react.memo of my component. My component is nothing but the child component. When to use this? So use that when the child component is expensive, when it takes more time, or when it is getting re-rendered. So props rarely change, so every time if the props doesn't change, then use this. So that will also work. And the next hook is useMemo. So useMemo is memorize the result. Okay, use callback to memorize the function reference. Usememo is used for memorizing the result of a computation. So if we go to the syntax, const value equal to useMemo of expensive calculation. Expensive calculations are nothing but which takes time to execute. Those are filtering, sorting, like this. Okay, in the dependency also you have to give whatever data is changed at that time, what calculation if you want, that you have to give in the dependency. So use this hook only when you have the expensive calculations or derived data like filtering or sorting. Okay, and the third hook is use callback. It is nothing but memo. It is used when we want to memorize the function reference. For example, use callback of this is here we will write the function. Inside that we will give the dependency. So use this when passing functions to memorized children. Okay. And also it is used when to prevent unnecessary re-renders. So let's check some examples. Okay, if we remember, react.memo is for child components or components to prevent re-render if props doesn't change. useMemo is used to memorize the result of expensive calculations. Use callback is used for memorizing the function reference. Okay, so if you remember, react.memo is for memorizing the component. Okay, prevents re-rendering of a component if props doesn't change. So if we check the example, we have a function, we have a child. So let's check with parent first. Sorry, before I have said function, that's parent. So we have a parent and we have a child. So inside the parent, I have taken a state called count and initialized with 0. So inside the written HTML part, I have given a button called click, and child also I have combined in this parent. So for button click, if I click on it on click function, I'm setting count plus 1. So I'm increasing the count by 1. Okay, so whenever user clicks the button, the count will get increased by 1. And after that they are rendering the child component. So here they are passing a prop called value equal to hello. So now if we go to the child component, const child equal to react.memo of value. So whenever this value will get changed, at that time only this child component will get re-rendered. So if we don't do React or memo, so every time they click on the button, so parent function will get re-render. So at that time child will also get re-render. But if we use the React or memo, it will only get the re-render if the value is changed. Okay, here we are trying to print the value. Okay, next one. So clicking button, parent re-renders, child doesn't re-render. Next one is useMemo. So useMemo, if you remember, it is used for memoizing the value, computer value, expensive calculator value. Okay, so we have a function count initialized to 0, and the calculation is written in this variable expensive value equal to react dot useMemo. Inside that we have to write the expensive calculation. So I have written just a return count of 2. So whenever the count get executed, it will go into this and print calculating, it will return the count into 2. So here for example we have written as count into 2, but it's simple calculation only, we don't even need. But for example we have written this. Okay, so return button click, same, if you click on click button, count will get increased by 1. Whenever the count is getting changed, it will go into this, as we have given dependency count, so it will go into this calculating and it will return count into 2. So that value we will get rendered here. Okay, this is for useMemo. Memo is computer value, recalculates only when count changes, because this we have given as dependency. Okay, next one is useCallback. It is used for memoizing the function reference. If we check the example, see here we have used react.memo also. So child equal to, it is taking prop called onClick of onClick, and inside the child component they are printing child rendered, and we have a button called click me. On clicking of this button, we will call this function called onClick. So let's check where they have written the onClick. So this is the parent, we have count initialize v0, handle click equal to useCallback of function. Okay, they are not doing any operations here, they are just printing clicked. Okay, and also this is empty dependency, means it will execute only in the initial render. Okay, we have the button parent click. Whenever user clicks on parent click button, count will get increased by 1. Okay, so whenever this count is getting increased by 1, I think in this dependency we have to give the count. Okay, this is empty dependency only. So if we go to the UI, so we have a button called parent click, and below that we will get the child component. So on rendering, first it will get it will show parent click button, and after that it will show click me button. Before that it will, inside the console it will print child rendered. So if we click on parent button, the count will get executed increased by 1. Okay, so when we click on click me button, so it will print clicked. Okay, so yeah, this is what it happens, this is the flow. So inside the parent we have written 2 buttons, parent click, and inside the child we have one more button called click me. On clicking of parent click, count will get increased by 1. On clicking of on click me, so if you go to the on click, handle click, so it will print clicked. So without useCallback, function recreated every render. So this is the function. If we don't use the useCallback, every time if we click on the parent click also, the function will get recreated. So okay, we don't need child to render. Okay, so that is why we should use useCallback. With useCallback, same function reference. Use callback for same function reference if we have same function reference and child doesn't read it. So if we check the differences between all these three, React.memo is used for memoizing component rendering, useMemo is used for memoizing value or result, useCallback is used for memoizing function. So React.memo prevents unnecessary component renders, useMemo memoizes computed values, useCallback memoizes function references to avoid a recreation on every render. So this is the all the three hooks differences. Okay, so first we have checked for the differences. Okay, so these three are the differences, syntax, and then after we have checked for the example, coding example, and this is the what you have to remember: memoizes component rendering value function. Okay, that's it.